Now, the CNS, the central nervous system, is very soft tissue. Whether we are talking about the brain or we are talking about the spinal cord, these are super soft tissues, and they are soft to the degree that they can crush just by their own weight. So if you take the brain and you just put it on the table, it will crush just because of its weight. So they are super soft. Therefore, it's very critical to provide good amount of protection to it. This protection includes the skull and the vertebra, skull for the brain, vertebra for the spinal cord. Then there is another layer, it's called the meninges. The meninges are protective membranes. So these are, we're talking about fibrous connective tissue, very thick membranes, and they are, not all of them are very thick. At least the first one, the dura mater, is extremely thick membrane. Then the second layer is something called arachnoid, and the last layer is called the biomatter. In addition to the membranes, there is something called the cerebrospinal fluid. The CSF acts as a shock absorber. So the brain and the spinal cord are literally swimming in a fluid, in the cerebrospinal fluid. And any shocks comes to them would be absorbed by this fluid. This fluid is produced within the ventricles of the brain. So it is also a form of protection for the CNS. And the last type of protection is something called the blood-brain barrier. This prevents entry of certain chemicals and pathogens into the CNS. So all of these are different levels of protections surrounding the brain and the spinal cord. This image shows you the ventricles of the brain. We have 4 ventricles there. And how the CSF is produced. It's produced within these ventricles. And as you can see, it goes through the spinal cord. It goes around the brain. So the brain literally, again, is swimming in this cerebrospinal fluid. This image here shows you the layers of the meninges. This is the skull, the bone. This is the first layer, the dura mater, then the arachnoid matter, then the biomatter directly on the brain tissue. Okay, so these are the meninges, the 3 layers of the meninges. Now, the spinal cord contains nerve fibers that rapidly transmit information between the brain and the rest of the body. This is like the highway, the super highway for action potentials between the brain and the rest of the body. As the brain, it has white matter and it has also gray matter. The white matter, however, is the outer portion of the spinal cord, and it is mainly myelinated nerves, whether they are ascending, going up, or descending, going down nerves. Most of them are myelinated. Whereas in the center, the gray matter contains cell bodies and the dendrites. As you can see here, this area is the gray matter, and the area around it, this area, is the white matter. So here are myelinated nerve fibers. Here we have the cell bodies and dendrites. Also, you can see the dura mater, the arachnoid, the biomatter. You can see the spinal cord is protected within the vertebra. So these how the spinal cord is protected. Now for these slides, for this slide and the remaining slides, I think they are pretty straightforward. So I'll save your time and let you go through them. There is nothing for me to explain in them, so please read them and post your comments, questions, your videos in the forum. and try to answer other questions or the questions from your classmate. And I will see you in the lab.